parental alienation and the flawed child support system. That's what I want to talk about. A lot of brothers I know personally are dealing with parental alienation, but they may not have even heard of that term or know what that term means. So let me just kind of break that down in layman's terms for what that means. Parental alienation is when you have one parent that is causing a separation from the other parent. They're alienating them from the other parent by all types of manipulation and mind control games to create a division between the parents. Most of this happens with mothers that because they have guardianship for the most part of these children. And so I want to talk about how the parental alienation, how that is it's an illness on behalf of the parent, and how it creates further illness, mental illness and trauma on the child. And then how the actual child support system, it kind of just lets that run rampant for the most part. I woke up this morning, I got an email with, I've been summoned to go back to child support court. Now, let me deal with the parental alienation part first. I got a daughter, she just turned 17 last year. She about to be 18. So I was off child support from 2016 up until last year. The mother said, hey, I'm gonna take you off. But last year, the mother was like, I'm gonna put you back on child support. So now I got this woman, she damn near 50 years old, going back into the court system to put me on child support for 1 year with a child that I haven't seen in 2 years. So here I am. I have no rights to this child, haven't seen the child, don't speak to the child. The child was given the authority by the mother to say, I don't want to deal with my daddy right now, so I'm not. The mother allowed the child to make an adult decision and say, no, I don't want nothing to do with my daddy. Now, this is a child that I have been present from the time she was born. It ain't like I've been no deadbeat or the child went or lacked anything throughout the upbringing. It ain't like I was not present at all. No, I was there the whole time up until this child turned 16. And when the child turned 16 and when I became the villain. See, a lot of times when being a father, when you really put your foot down, you're gonna turn into the villain. And that's what happened to me. I went from a mother, and a lot of people go through this, man. When the mother tells the child, I'm gonna tell your daddy, to don't tell your daddy this. We ain't gonna tell your daddy this. See, this is when the manipulation and the alienation starts, when these type of conversations, when it switches from I'm gonna tell your daddy to let's not tell your daddy. See, this creates a sense of dishonesty. This creates a bending of the truth that the child is beginning to learn from the mother. You see what I'm saying? So that's where this thing kind of went to in my situation. Okay. Now, like I said, I went to child support court last year. And what I noticed was in that court, the judge, I told her, hey, I haven't seen this child. I don't have any rights to this child. That judge told me, well, you need to go to another court and deal with your rights. I'm only here to make sure this money gets sent to where it gets sent to. And on top of that, this woman, the mother of my child, got in that courtroom and told this judge she does not feel comfortable leaving her child with me. So here I have been a father this whole time. And when the child gets to be 17 years old, you go in there and tell this judge you don't feel comfortable leaving me around this child. That is the highest form of alienation, because now you're using the court system to push your excuse why you don't want to let me see my daughter. So here we have a 16-year-old child, a girl on top of that, with all of the things going on in the world, with all of the wickedness going on, with all of the manipulation just in the world on how men, or just how wicked the world is, even with women, it's wicked. The mother decides, no, I'm going to break this bond between you and your father. Old folks always said this: you got to watch who you have babies with. You know, we listen to it and we be like, yeah, you got, but no, listen, man. I didn't realize the science of reproduction to that extent back then, onto how, you know what, let me examine this person's upbringing before I decide that I should, you know, have a baby with her. Had I would have examined that, I would have noticed one thing. Wait a minute. How is the relationship with your father? I would say 90% of the time, a person that doesn't have a relationship with their father, they are going to put these seeds, plant these seeds of destruction and dissension in their child's head with their father. How can a woman that's never had a daddy in her life teach her daughter to appreciate her father if she has no appreciation for hers? You can't name one great story that your father has been there. Your father has taught you this. Your father has gave you this. Your father was there for you in your life. Your father was completely absent from your entire life. And now, when your child is 16, those seeds are being planted to you for you to destroy the relationship between your daughter and her father. This is the type of things that I should have done the research on. Like, wait a minute now, why? But never in a million years, but I think a child that I was rearing her entire life could be flipped to the degree where she says to me, I don't want nothing to do with you. He told other people, I'm taking a break from my daddy. So again, this child was allowed to make the decision on her own at 16 to say, I'm cutting my daddy off. Now, what I see is, whoa, but this is a wicked mother. When a child is 16, she's supposed to be getting cars, everything that the father would add on to, the mother is saying, nah, we're going to cut that off. So you really stripping this child from experiences and from just the wants, needs, and desires that a child will be getting going into young adulthood. Again, how can you appreciate that if you never had it? In fact, I see now that the workings to destroy that were in the play for a long time. It's psychological games that adults play on children that should be criminal. For example, I can recall my daughter being 14, 15 when I tell her, hey, you're going to come with me for the weekend. You're going to come with me during these holidays and stay. And this child told me, nah, Dad, I'm going to stay with my mama because she going to be sad. It's just going to be her there. So listen what that is. Now you have a child that has turned into a crutch for an adult that can't be rap type, that has manipulated the child into thinking, okay, my mother is going to be emotionally damaged if I go with my father, so I'm just going to fall back and stay over here with my mama so she won't be sad, so she'll be able to cope. Now you have an adult that has mind fucked this child into thinking, I need you over here with me so I can get by, or I'm going to be over here by myself. These are the type of psychological games. This is what parental alienation is, when the parent manipulates the child in that fashion. Right next door, I had a clothing store. Y'all think you think you just gonna drag me into courts and try to pimp me out my money without me telling my story? You's a damn lie. I remember I had that store next door, and my daughter would ask me for some money. And you know what I'd tell her? Hey, you need to come over here and go to work. I built this store. You know how to operate it. Let me teach you how to earn your keep. Let me show you how to live, how to survive, and how to thrive, and how to be responsible. When I would tell her to go to work, the mother would completely wipe that out and put it inside this child's head. And in the beauty shop, every time the child wants some money, her daddy thinks she got to go to work. What the hell do you think you're going to do to make a living out here if you don't work? But hey, man, when you marry somebody for financial gain, or when you gotta use these type of tactics to get your bills paid, yeah, you're gonna tell your daughter she don't need to work because you ain't working. Another form of manipulation and another way to create a separation. Yeah, your daddy think you supposed to work. I do. So again, all type of little tactics have been used to sway and manipulate this child from having a relationship with their father. These are the games that people play. These are the manipulation tactics people use when creating these forms of parental alienation. I'm not even going to get into the narcissism, into how just a mother uses all other tactics to create this division between a mother and a child, but it's especially damning when it's a father and a daughter. Because again, these are, this is traits that have been put inside of this mother, and this is trauma being passed down because you didn't have a father. So instead of you being like the 10% that says, I ain't had no daddy, I'm gonna do my best to make sure you have the best experience with your father. She like the 90% and saying, oh, I ain't had no daddy, so if I didn't have no daddy and I got this far, you don't need no daddy, you'll be okay. You're gonna be a broken adult, you're gonna be a miserable woman, you're gonna be a bitter woman, you're gonna be a manipulating, lying woman, just like the mother is teaching you how to be. See, don't nobody wanna talk about this. Brothers don't wanna talk about it because it may make you look like you pointing a finger or you the bad guy. I take full responsibility for procreating with this woman. But if you think I'm gonna sit up here and just get beat down and I'm not gonna tell my truth like I said, you lying. You crazy as hell. Because again, it's what people tell me. They say, hey, just give her time to grow and get away from her mother, and then she'll come back. She'll wake up one day and see how she's been tricked out of her spot. She's gonna wake up and realize how valuable having a father is. Like how women tell me, yeah, me and my daddy, we was separated for years. It took me this long to realize he was right, or how much I valued him, or how much I was being manipulated out of that relationship by a bitter parent. So, I gave it to God, and I'm continually giving it to God, saying, you know what, I can't fight this woman, the court systems, because I don't have anything to fight with. When the judge told me I don't deal with parental rights or visitation, none, they go to another court. You know, I called the lawyer, what they told me? $7,500. Yeah, I'll take that and work on your parental rights, but it's gonna cost you $7,500. So here I am in child support court, paying child support on a child I ain't seen in years. In order for me to get my visitation rights on my child, I got to pay another entity $7,500. That's like a racket, man. In order for me just to play an active role in fatherhood. So that's why I said the child support system is flawed, because in essence, they don't care about parents having equal rights. The only thing they care about, you file these charges, we're gonna make sure he pay them. Y'all go somewhere else, another court, to figure out who get to see the baby when and where. But just make sure we get this paid. And if you don't get paid, we're gonna deal with you. So I woke up this morning because, like I said, I got an email this morning telling me, whoa, I got child support court again in a couple of months with this child that's about to be 18. She's gonna be 18 in 6 months, 7 months, and then I'll be out child support. But up until then, this is what I'm dealing with, and these are the type of negative programs that are being downloaded inside this child. Everybody knows a child brain doesn't develop in a manner to make adult decisions till they're in their 20s. But in the court system, the child can make the decision and say, I don't want anything to do with my father. My father is going to stop all the bullshit that my mother allows me to get away with. I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm going to cut my father off. And we know the court system is already flawed if a child can't get a tattoo, but they can go get their genitals cut off. So again, the whole system is broken, it's flawed, and it's actually, it does more damage than it helps. Like I said, I know a lot of brothers, man, that are dealing with different forms of parental alienation. They wish to speak out and tell their truth and their story, but they don't. And I was the same way until I'm like, you know what? I'm not holding this in no more, because it's going to be a time, I don't know when, but this child's going to grow up and realize, damn, my mother really tricked me out my spot. My father was here my entire life until he told me, you don't need to wear that. You need to watch you need to do this. Until a father started putting his foot down in the way a father should, everything was great. Had I go along with the bullshit, let the child wear whatever, let the child hang out, do whatever, it's okay. But when I say, hey, this ain't what we do, this ain't how we act, this ain't how you dress, I turn into the bad guy. I'm willing to be that bad guy and stand up for truth and righteousness and eliminate being a child's friend. This mother told me I'm gonna be her friend. And this is what the situation is going on. You got a mother that has no friends. The only friend is the child, and the child has been manipulated into thinking that her and her mother are friends. You don't know who's talking. You don't know who's the mother when they have conversation. So, yeah, man, I just want to talk about that for a brief second, because a lot of you boys are going through this, but again, you're not going to speak out on it. You know what I'm saying? I will. I'm going to tell my story, man. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. Y'all have a good one.